India's growth story or economic illusion. India was supposed to become the world's next economic superpower. At least, that's the version of India the world has been hearing for years.
When I first visited the US as a Prime Minister, India was the 10th largest economy in the world.
The fastest growing major economy, a digital revolution, massive highways, new airports, bullet trains, startup billionaires, a country finally arriving. And honestly, for a long time, most people believed it because from the outside, India really did look unstoppable. UPI transformed payments, expressways started connecting cities faster than ever, skyscrapers rose across metro cities, Indian startups exploded globally, foreign leaders called India the future of the world economy. But then, something strange started happening. Not just online, not just in headlines, in real life. Families that once spent comfortably started cutting expenses quietly. Young graduates began earning degrees but struggling to find stable jobs. People started earning more money than before, yet somehow feeling financially weaker. And then came the moment that shocked many Indians. Donald Trump publicly called India a dead economy.
Saying Indian economy is a dead economy.
Yes, he's right. I mean, everybody knows this, except the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister. Everybody knows that the Indian economy is a dead economy. I'm glad that President Trump has stated a fact. What more why are you asking this question?
Now, whether you agree with him or not, that statement spread everywhere. Because suddenly people started asking, if India is growing so fast, why do so many ordinary people feel financially stressed? And that's where this story becomes much deeper than politics. Because the truth is, India's economy is not collapsing, but it's also not as simple as the headlines make it sound. Technically, India is still growing. GDP numbers remain strong compared to most major economies. India is still one of the world's fastest growing large economies. Infrastructure genuinely is improving. Travel times are better, digital systems are better, internet access is better. UPI alone completely changed how money moves across the country. From the outside, India still looks like a country moving upward very quickly. But underneath that growth story, another reality has quietly been forming. A reality where millions of ordinary people are starting to feel financially stretched. And once you notice it, you start seeing it everywhere. Fuel prices rise and suddenly transportation becomes expensive. Food prices rise, small businesses struggle with operating costs. Electricity bills increase, manufacturing becomes more expensive. A fuel price hike never stays limited to fuel. It slowly spreads into almost every part of daily life. And this becomes especially dangerous for India because India imports most of its crude oil, which means global conflicts quickly become domestic pressure. Wars in West Asia, oil shocks, shipping disruptions eventually reach Indian households. But here's the important part. Many of the warning signs people feel today actually started before the latest global crises. And that changes the conversation completely. Take jobs for example. Every single month, millions of young Indians enter the workforce hoping for stability. But enough high quality jobs are simply not being created fast enough. And this may be India's biggest long term challenge. For years, India's growth was heavily driven by services. IT, finance, software, digital businesses. These sectors created enormous wealth. But services alone cannot employ everyone at massive scale. That's where manufacturing becomes important. Factories create large-scale employment. Industrial ecosystems create long-term middle-class stability. That's one reason China transformed so rapidly. India hoped manufacturing would become its next major engine too. Make in India carried that promise for years. And while manufacturing has grown in sectors like electronics and defense, the transformation never fully reached the scale many people expected. Which means millions of young people today are competing for a limited number of stable jobs. And then another disruption entered the picture: artificial intelligence. Now, suddenly, even white collar jobs don't feel fully secure anymore. Hiring is slowing in some industries, automation is increasing, layoffs are becoming more common in sectors that once looked untouchable. And for many young Indians, the future feels far less predictable than it did just a few years ago. At the same time, household pressure is becoming harder to ignore. Savings are falling, debt is rising. More families are depending on loans and credit cards just to maintain the same lifestyle they had earlier. And that's usually not a healthy economic sign, because strong economies grow when incomes rise faster than pressure, not when borrowing rises faster than stability. And then there's another subtle shift happening quietly across India. People are becoming financially defensive. You can even see it in behavior. Restaurants still look crowded, shopping malls still look busy, flights are still full, cities still move with the energy of a growing economy. But underneath that activity, many households are calculating expenses more carefully than before. People think longer before making major purchases. Online discounts attract more attention. Even financially stable families are becoming more cautious about long term spending.
की बहुत बड़ी आबादी फिर से गरीबी के दलदल में चली जाएगी। साथियों, ऐसी वैश्विक परिस्थितियों में आज दुनिया रेजिलिएंट सप्लाई चेन की बात कर रही है। दुनिया के लिए आपदाओं का दशक बन रहा है।
For years, SIP investing became symbolic of India's rising middle class. Regular investing, long term optimism, belief in the future. But now many households are becoming more cautious, spending less, saving more carefully, avoiding risks. And psychologically, that matters far more than most people realize. Because economies don't run only on money, they run on confidence. The belief that hard work will improve your future. The belief that your children will live better than you did. The belief that tomorrow will feel more secure than today. And slowly, that confidence feels weaker for many people. Not because India is collapsing overnight, it's not. India still has enormous strengths, a huge workforce, a massive domestic market, a rapidly expanding digital economy, growing infrastructure, global geopolitical importance. The country still has enormous potential. But potential alone does not guarantee success. Execution matters, job creation matters, education quality matters, and time matters too. Because demographic opportunities do not last forever.
Unemployment hurts more when you have lesser money in your pocket. So yeah, from all those perspectives, yes, you are right.
जो अर्बनाइजेशन हो रहा है उसे हम संकट न समझें, अर्बनाइजेशन को अपॉर्चुनिटी समझें। हमारी पूरी योजनाओं के मूल में ये बहुत बड़ी गड़बड़ हो गई है कि हमने अर्बनाइजेशन को एक संकट मान लिया।
Countries do not stay young forever, and maybe the real risk for India is not some dramatic economic collapse. Maybe the real danger is something much quieter, a slow weakening of opportunity, a future where GDP keeps rising on paper, but millions of ordinary people stop feeling connected to that growth story. And if that happens, the damage won't just be economic, it becomes generational. Because eventually, the biggest warning signs in a country don't begin in stock markets. They begin quietly inside ordinary people's daily lives. This is Parallel Stories. And maybe the real question is no longer, is India growing? Maybe the real question is, who actually feels that growth anymore? This is Parallel Stories, signing off.